We have learned the man who Lexington police say was shot near the intersection of North Limestone and East 7th Street early Sunday morning is well known in the local music industry.
A well-known Central Kentucky chef and his wife are dead the result of a violent crash yesterday in Boyle County.
It's a problem in Kentucky, and police say you need to learn how to protect yourself. Coming up, we'll explain how you can protect your credit information from skimmers at gas pumps.
This is WKYT News at Noon.
Good afternoon from WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. Barbara Bailey has the day off. Nice to be here with you today. Well, a man is fighting for his life this midday after he was shot during a robbery in Lexington.
And police say local music video producer Coleman Saunders had just taken a taxi to the corner of North Limestone and East 7th when he was jumped by three men. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has reaction from someone who knew the victim well. It is our top story at noon.
We have learned the man that police say was robbed and then shot here near the intersection of East 7th Street and North Limestone is very well known in the local music industry, producing and directing music videos for artists like J.D. Shelburne and Sunday Best. Shelburne says he was devastated to hear the news yesterday. Coleman Saunders, the man behind Shelburne's music video Hometown, that is getting national attention on the country music circuit. Shelburne says Saunders' work on that video is the reason he is seeing the success that he is. Saunders' friends rallying around him as at last check he remains in critical condition, all hoping for a full recovery for the young man who they say is overflowing with talent.
We kind of hit it off like we've been friends forever. He was such a nice, polite guy. His work is extraordinary. I mean, I've never had a guy that's shot a music video that's taken as much time and put as much effort into it to make it come out, with such a great final product. I mean, we've become friends more than on a business relationship. We've become really good friends, and it's just, I hate this happened to Coleman. It's just sounds like a wrong place, wrong time situation.
Shelburne, who is from here in Kentucky but now lives in Tennessee, says he just talked to Saunders a few days ago as they were planning to work on a new music video next month. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Hillary, thank you. A quick update on the investigation. Police say they are still looking for three suspects in the shooting.
We're learning more about the victims of a deadly crash in central Kentucky. Boyle County Sheriff's deputies say two cars collided on Godby Lane off Kentucky 52 between Danville and Perryville. 54-year-old Walter Bremer was pronounced dead at the scene. His wife, 50-year-old Jacqueline Bremer, was airlifted to UK Hospital where she later died. WKYT's Phil Pendleton is in Boyle County with the latest.
54-year-old Wally Bremer, who is a chef here at Seasons Catering in Lexington, passed away at the crash scene, and we have since learned this morning that his wife, 50-year-old Jacqueline Bremer, also died the result of her injuries in the crash. Now, the two were in a car with two friends headed to look at a house, I'm told, when police say their car was hit head-on by an SUV. A total of 8 people were in both cars, 4 in each. Wally Bremer was driving the Audi. His wife was a passenger. She died later at UK. Wally Bremer was a chef at Seasons Catering and was well known.
Wally was an all-around great guy. He was always had a good attitude, never afraid to get his hands dirty. He would do anything that we needed him to do. Always asked if he could do anything else before we left at the end of the day. He just had a great attitude towards everything.
The emergency management director tells me the crash happened on a very narrow roadway, Godby Lane, at the bottom of what is a blind hill. We're still gathering details on what exactly took place. We hope to have much more for you later today, but for now in Lexington, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
A total of 7 people were transported to various hospitals, but most other injuries were not considered to be life-threatening. A candlelit vigil will be held this evening for a 10-year-old boy who was killed by a hit-and-run driver in southern Kentucky. Stanley Turner died a week ago today after a car hit him on Rocklet Creek Road in Pulaski County. Police still have not found the driver. Stanley's vigil will begin at 7:30 in the parking lot next to the Science Hill Post Office.
It is another steamy day here in the Bluegrass, and some strong to severe storms will start to fire up this afternoon, especially in southeastern Kentucky. But some relief is coming as we head toward midweek. WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell is live in our First Alert Weather Center with a quick look ahead.
Now, what we've got to do is we've got to get this rain out of here, and that's going to allow the nice, dry conditions to come settling in. again. Right now we're tracking some showers and thunderstorms out there now, with temperatures in the mid-80s here at this noon hour. Much cooler under some of those showers and storms that we've been watching work through the area. One complex right around the Lake Cumberland area. There you see some of the heavier rain, the lightning associated with that, and now sweeping more into Pulaski County. For our friends across eastern Kentucky, some of the rain about to run out of here into Virginia, but you still have a little while longer with some of the heavy stuff. And another shower that has gone up across parts of Nicholas County and into Fleming County, also now showing some stronger areas, some heavier rain concentrated in the middle of that. Now, as we head through the rest of the evening, you'll watch that shower and thunderstorm coverage try to ramp up a little bit, at least for a little while. And then once it finally clears out here this evening, we're in much better shape. A very comfortable run of days coming. I'll break it all down here in just a few minutes.
All right, Jim, thank you. It is a much different story in West Virginia, where flood cleanup is continuing this afternoon. High water is starting to recede in some parts of the state, but forecasters say more heavy rain is coming later today. The National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch for most of the day. The current death toll is 23 after 2 men who were presumed dead were found alive this morning.
A warning for you: the next time you fill up at the gas station, credit card skimmers are becoming more of a threat. WKYT's Mark Barber has more on what we all need to know to avoid being scammed.
While you will never actually see one of these credit card skimmers at a gas pump because they're hidden inside, there are still a few things you can do to keep the skimmers from swiping your credit information. Look for this tape when you pull up to a pump. If the tape is broken, it means a crook has popped open the panel and set a skimmer inside. It only takes a few seconds to install the skimmer, but the device can copy information from up to 500 credit cards. Once the criminal has your financial information, they can create their own credit card and use it to empty your bank account. This year, Ryan Quarles, Kentucky's Commissioner of Agriculture, is checking the state's 60,000 gas stations for the skimmers. Police in Lexington have already found a number of them in just the last few weeks.
We've had about 5 recovered in Lexington, just gas pump skimmers. We've also seen ATM skimmers, of course, coming through. Being off of I-64 and I-75, it's an easy stopping point for people traveling from out of state. Most suspects that we've seen placing these devices are all from outside of Kentucky.
And finally, don't forget the easiest way to make sure your financial information is secure: carry cash. Sure, it may not be convenient like a credit card, but it will make sure you never have to worry about your financial information being lifted. In Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Thanks, Mark. And after you've taken all those precautions, don't forget to regularly check your charges on your bank statements as well. A Christian resource group out of Nashville finds that 2/3 of Americans think Christians face increasing intolerance. The study by Lifeway Christian Resources also found that nearly half of Americans feel Christians complain too much about how they're treated. A Kentucky pastor says he can foresee a time in the future when churches may lose their tax-exempt status, or when speaking out against homosexuality may be considered a hate crime.
A lot of the issues that we're coming up against brings us to this cliff, and we're right on the edge of it.
I think there's no question that evangelicals think that in one way they kind of lost their home field advantage.
Tonight on WKYT News at 6, Faith and Politics, a look at one Kentucky church's perspective on their religious freedoms.
The Kentucky Supreme Court will decide whether Republican Governor Matt Bevin can cut the budgets of state colleges and universities. The court has agreed to hear the case, bypassing the State Court of Appeals at the request of Attorney General Andy Beshear. Bevin reduced funding to higher education by nearly $18 million earlier this year, but Beshear sued him, saying he had overstepped his authority. A state judge sided with Bevin last month, so now the state Supreme Court will decide. The hearing on that is set for August 18th. Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton is just wrapping up a rally up the road in Cincinnati today. Clinton held a public event at the Cincinnati Museum Center this morning, along with Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, whose name has been thrown out there as a possible vice presidential running mate with Clinton. This will be the first time that the two women have been doing joint campaigning. Well, the Voice winner and Harlan County native Jordan Smith has a lot to celebrate. He had a lot going on last year with the big win, and now
it was quite the time for him. Smith has proposed to his girlfriend, Kristen Denny. He did that shortly after winning the singing competition last year, and according to People magazine, they tied the knot over the weekend. Smith has said it was Denny who pushed him to try out for the show. Congrats.
Right, congratulations, right? Well, the fallout continues after Great Britain voted to leave the European Union. We'll show you the impact it's having on the markets here at midday, coming up on Kentucky's #1 Midday News.
And ahead, after calling out Madonna for her Billboard Music Awards performance, BET honored Prince during its annual awards ceremony. We'll show you the emotional tributes next on WKYT. Welcome back into WKYT News at noon. Voters in the UK made the decision to leave the European Union, but it will be up to the nation's leaders to figure out exactly how to do it with the least amount of political turmoil and financial hardship.
And there are just a lot of questions still here this afternoon. Tina Krause has the latest from London.
Prime Minister David Cameron addressed Parliament for the first time since Britain's historic vote to leave the European Union.
I am clear, and the Cabinet agreed this morning, that the decision must be accepted.
Cameron announced his resignation Friday. He says he will not begin the formal exit from the EU before he leaves office.
Before we do that, we need to determine the kind of relationship we want with the EU. And that is rightly something for the next Prime Minister and their Cabinet to decide.
More than 3.5 million people have signed a petition urging the British government to annul the vote. That's enough signatures to get a debate in Parliament.
I think that's irrelevant. We've made our decision, the people have voted.
This man is worried about the unrest Brexit is bringing to the UK.
There's talk about young against old, deprived areas against privileged areas.
It was another rough economic day in the markets. The British pound plunged 3% against the dollar. That's after losing 10% Friday. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is in Europe helping to manage the fallout.
The most important thing is that all of us as leaders work together to provide as much continuity, as much stability, as much certainty as possible.
European leaders are divided on how to negotiate this Brexit. Britain is the first country to leave the European Union in the EU's 60-year history. Tina Krause, CBS News, London.
Leaders from Germany, France, and Italy are also meeting today to discuss the Brexit situation. Well, it looks like it's going to be another rough day for the financial markets here in the U.S. as well. The Dow has dropped 252 points as of midday. We'll disregard those numbers that you see. It is down again 252. The NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are also way down. I think those numbers were from Friday, so this would be a loss in addition to those. So it's, yeah, tough scenario right now.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court has closed out its current term with opinions in 3 cases. In a 5-3 vote, the justices struck down a Texas law that would have forced more than 3/4 of the state's abortion clinics to shut down. In a unanimous decision, the High Court ruled in favor of Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell, making it more difficult to prosecute elected officials accused of bribery. The High Court also upheld a federal law that bans people convicted of domestic violence from owning guns. BET delivered on its promise for a huge tribute to Prince at its annual awards show.
Jennifer Hudson sang Purple Rain, accompanied by Roots guitarist Captain Kirk Douglas. Maxwell updated the lyrics to Nothing Compares to You, referencing the length of time since Prince's passing. But BET saved the best for last as Sheila E. brought down the house with a medley of Prince songs. Expectations were high after BET sent out a snarky tweet following Madonna's tribute to Prince at the Billboard Music Awards last month that said, quote, "Yeah, we saw that. Don't worry, we got you." University of Kentucky students and staff could soon have more places to park.
We'll tell you about a proposed new parking garage on campus coming up on WKYT News at 12:30.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
It's getting a little more active out there with rounds of showers, thunderstorms showing up across parts of central and into eastern Kentucky as well. It's been a little more active across southern Kentucky as well. Let's get right to it on our Defender Radar Network. I've also thrown up some temperatures so we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here and get it all covered up for you. 79 in Somerset where the rain has been around and some of the thicker cloud cover has also been present. More complex of showers and thunderstorms showing up out to our west. Put it into motion. You can see what it's been doing here the past little bit as well. Some of it weakening, but still holding steady in some cases. We'll go down to around the Lake Cumberland area, and you can see that this one in particular has faded quite a bit compared to what it was at its peak. For our friends in eastern Kentucky, during the top of the show, picked up on this rain. You can see the heaviest stuff is now working its way over into Virginia. Now we'll get another dose later today that might include some heavier rain producers, maybe some stronger storms as well. We got one stretching from parts of Fleming County right into Carlisle as well. It's not completely raining heavy there yet, but it will be soon. You'll get a heavy little dose of rain pass through as we head through the rest of the evening or into the afternoon and evening. So here we got the front dropping in, enhances the chance of showers and thunderstorms to our east. That's where we could run into maybe a stronger storm or two. Then some of that lingers into the early morning hours on Tuesday. Beyond that, things are looking a whole lot better around here. Very comfortable stuff trying to set up across Kentucky, as you see here in our 7-day forecast. When that front clears, it really clears. I mean, it means that daytime highs are down into the 70s, perhaps upper 70s by Wednesday. But the most important thing, the humidity levels are going to be put out of here rather quickly. So we're looking very, very nice once we get to that point. We'll be right back in just a moment.
He was brought in to turn around the basketball fortunes at Morehead State, and now with that process showing progress, Morehead State is making sure its coach isn't going anywhere. The school and Sean Woods announcing a contract extension this morning. This was Woods' 4th year this season, and his club put together a 23-win campaign before losing out to Nevada in the best-of-3 college basketball invitational finals. The extension is through the 2019-2020 season. Woods says the extension means the school leaders liked what he's doing. Quote, "It shows that they believe in our plan, and this is a major commitment to Morehead State men's basketball," end quote. Woods has compiled a 75-63 record in his first 4 seasons. He has more wins in his first 4 seasons at Morehead than any coach in program history. Well, what a weekend in Cincinnati as the Reds were finally able to honor hometown hero Pete Rose. Huge crowds filled Great American Ballpark for the 3 days of celebration, which had to be approved by Major League Baseball because of Rose's lifetime ban for betting on his team. On Saturday, Rose was inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame, and yesterday, his number 14 officially retired.
Please unveil the 11th number to be retired. Pete Rose's number 14.
You know, it's funny, we're up here watching all those base hits. Johnny leans forward and says, "Where in the hell were the home runs?" I left that up to Johnny and Tony to hit the home runs. Now, remember, when I benched Davey many, many years ago, he was ready to kill me. He got mad at me. Well, the guy I replaced you with sitting right to your left, and his number's hanging up there. So I knew what the hell I was doing.
What a great weekend. Yesterday on WKYT, Central Kentucky Connection in the final round of the Quicken Loans National, 54-hole leader Billy Hurley III, a graduate of the Naval Academy, trying to hold on for his first tour win, trying to get up and down to 15. How about getting it in? Chips it in for a birdie. Take a look at his caddy coming in here on the right side of the screen. That's Clay Dewerson. Dewerson is a Berea native and a Lexington resident. You might also remember his brother Gavin. He was the Wildcat mascot when he was in school at UK. That birdie got him 2 shots clear of the field. 16th hole, Hurley, 27-footer that rolls around and in. He's at 17 under. And then on 18, how about the short par putt to finish it? Hurley wins a Quicken Loans National, 3 shots better than BJ Singh. There's Dewerson. Hurley wins $1.2 million. That means Dewerson, the caddy, gets about 10%. Tonight on the Big Blue Insider with Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn on the reunion of the 76 Big Red Machine and the enshrinement of Pete Rose, and UK golfer Anna Hack, who's qualified for the U.S. Women's Open. That's at 6 on 630 WLAP. One other note, DeMarcus Cousins. We've known this for several weeks now. He's officially named to the USA men's basketball team that will play in the Olympics. Cuz and the other teammates announced officially today, although Coach K had decided some time ago. More on that coming up a little bit later, guys. But for now, that's a look at sports on this Monday.
All right, Big Cuz off to Rio. Thank you very much. And coming up more in our next half hour of WKYT News at noon.
The Kentucky State Fair Board is putting up the Help Wanted sign.
I'm Mike Byer in Anderson County. Coming up on WKYT News at 12:30. One man is in the hospital after police say he was shot, all over an argument involving a weed eater.
And tomorrow's Mega Millions jackpot, $390 million. Wednesday's Powerball jackpot is $222 million.